So I bought a car from Carvana. Well, actually, I bought 2 cars from Carvana. Actually, no, that's not right either. I bought 3 cars from Carvana. Now, at this point, you're probably thinking, I either love Carvana, right? Like, absolutely love them, or I'm really indecisive with the cars that I buy. The truth is, though, it's a little more ugly than that. It all starts with me downloading the Carvana app because, honestly, I was curious what they would give me for this BMW 428i that I'm sitting in right now. And the offer was pretty good. It was about $500 more than I paid for the car in January 2020, and it had only been 6 months. And I've been known to change cars pretty quickly anyway, so I thought it would be a little stupid for me not to take a profit on a BMW. You don't make profit on BMW. You never make profit on BMW, actually, like, ever. So if you have that opportunity, I think you should take it, and I was going to, and I thought, you know what better to get into than a Jaguar XJL? I've always loved big executive luxury sedans, and the Jaguar XJL is the pinnacle, the top of that market, if you ask me. Now, as many of you who may be looking to purchase with Carvana have experienced, they're moving cars extraordinarily fast, like stupidly fast. It's honestly overwhelming, and because of that, there were no XJLs readily available, ready to go at the time that I needed an XJL, and so I just kind of sat and waited. And I noticed that every day Carvana would post some cars, and eventually I figured they would get to an XJL. And sure enough, they did. However, it wasn't completely available. It only had, you know, basic information about it, like the color and miles and things like that. What it didn't have, most importantly, was any photos. And because of that, it wasn't available for sale yet, but for pre-order. So I went ahead and I pre-ordered this XJL. Let's take an aside for a second. Pre-ordering on Carvana is basically where you get the basic information of a car, like the color, the specs, the, you know, mileage, things like that, but no photos. And then you can pre-order that car, right? So you can pre-order it by paying $100 pre-order, and then when it does come available with photos and basically ready to be purchased, then you can get first right of refusal on that for the first 48 hours. So you got 48 hours to purchase the car after photos and everything come available, but it allows you to pick up a car and then just kind of sit back and wait until it does come up. Carvana told me that would be 7 days. I can assure you it was much, much longer, and actually gonna have to continue the story to tell you what exactly happened with that. So with a pre-order at Carvana, all you do is just kind of sit back and wait, and eventually it will pop up available that you can look at your car. And that's what I did. When I finished my pre-order, I was told I can continue shopping and that my car would be available when it is available, and it should be within 7 days. I waited for weeks. It was more like 2 weeks, and I still hadn't heard anything, and I was still shopping and shopping and shopping on Carvana because that's what they told me I could do when I finished my pre-order. And finally, after weeks of looking at XJs, another XJL popped up, and it was beautiful. This one had photos, it was ready for purchase right away, and overall, it was an absolutely stunning car. And with the XJL being such a high-demand car on Carvana from what I had seen, it was time for me to go ahead and start the purchase process. Now, all this does when you start the purchase process is basically hold the car for 45 minutes to let you decide if you actually want it or not. And that's what I did. I went ahead and I started the purchase process to see if I actually wanted the car, looking it over. Overall, I decided I didn't, that I would just keep waiting for my beautiful hunter green Jaguar that was pre-ordered and on the way. I was just gonna sit back and wait. I noticed something though. The pre-order was gone. It was suddenly nowhere to be found. And I went and tried to find the car on their website, and sure enough, it wasn't there anymore. Because it had been more than 7 days since I pre-ordered it, the car had vanished. After calling Carvana and being put through tons of different departments and being put on hold and all of this stuff, I was finally able to figure out that my pre-order was lost. There was no getting it back. It was impossible, and I think someone else had it, even though they didn't use those exact words. It kind of seemed that way. However, I wish I had seen a, you know, sort of pop-up that said, hey, this will cancel your pre-order if you start the purchase process, and I didn't. I can confirm they have now added that, though. Almost to, I wonder, response to this happening? Probably happened to a few people. I can't imagine it hasn't happened to more than me. And they finally added in a pop-up that says, you'll lose your pre-order if you do this. Would have been nice if they had had that. I was never told that I would lose my pre-order when I started the purchase process. It just had it start. That's just that. Honestly, a misclick could have lost that pre-order. So yeah, that was my first Carvana experience. And since I don't want this entire video to be in GoPro, let's go ahead and switch over here. I'm gonna go get some coffee, and then we'll, you know, switch to actually not in the car on the GoPro. Unfortunately, we do still have to wear masks. So yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. Still have to wear a mask. Sucks, but it is what it is. I'm also going inside here instead of going through the drive-thru because look at how much, like, how many people there are. It's absolutely crazy. I've also never ordered this though, not being in the app. So so let's go ahead and just do that really fast. Hold on, because I can just do it through the app or inside pickup. So it's pretty simple. You just come in here and then you say you want a ton of sugar and a white chocolate a white chocolate drink, which, let's see, which one do I want? I want the lower calorie one today, please. And it's gonna be at this one. And then we're gonna go ahead and do here, like order here, boom. And then we want to do in-store pickup, boom, use your points, and spending $6.98 on coffee. So yeah, that's kind of that. I hope that came through, but yeah. That's expensive on coffee, right? Like, that's crazy. After that pre-order experience, I was kind of sick of Carvana, honestly. I don't know, I was sick of it. I was kind of done looking for cars, kind of ruined the experience. However, I like to switch cars. Still in this BMW. That should be a foreshadowing of what's to come. But anyway, I like to switch cars, and so I started looking at Ford Focus STs on Carvana. Hey, I got a pickup for Nick.
Here you go.
Thank you.
I love your apparel.
Thank you.
It's so cool.
Looking for Ford Focus STs. I was able to find one that honestly wasn't that bad. It was a beautiful blue. I love blue cars, as everyone would know. And honestly, it wasn't that bad of a car at all. One thing, I thought this was a cold drink. I normally order a cold drink. I think I actually ordered what Patrick normally orders, not what I normally order, which is okay. I'll drink it, it's fine. Just was not expecting a hot drink here. So with that blue Ford Focus, let's go ahead and tell the story of the blue Ford Focus ST and Carvana. So I went ahead, got it ordered, got the paperwork done, got to delivery day. And then on delivery day, I was sitting there ready. I had taken the license plate off of my blue BMW. I was ready to get this Ford Focus ST. And sure enough, the driver calls and says, hey, the front bumper on this car is hanging off and the paint looks all weird. It's definitely not the same color as the rest of the car. Like, it's still a blue, but it's like much deeper and doesn't look like there's clear cut on it. It looks bad. I don't know if like I can bring you this car, and I think if I do, you're just gonna send it back because it does not look how it looks in the photos. It does not look like something I would like sell to my mother, and so I don't want to sell it to you and don't want to bring it to you. Or I don't think I should bring it to you, but I said they could. And I said, well, in that case, just go ahead and keep it, because you're right. I'm going from a beautiful blue BMW to this blue Ford Focus, and I would like it to be pretty perfect. That's why I'm using Carvana after all. So go ahead, keep the car. We'll undo the deal. No big deal. No harm, no foul. Never even saw that car. But I think I wanted to mention that here because I think that speaks to the quality that Carvana is selling, right? It's not a high quality kind of car if the front bumper has been damaged and poorly repainted, and that's enough for like a driver to notice at Carvana. At least they did tell me. They could have just sold it to me anyway, but that car went right back on their site the next day, right away, and was immediately pending for purchase. So I can only assume eventually someone ended up with that car, but I don't know who, and I hope they can look past that front bumper issue, because I know I probably couldn't have. After the Ford debacle, I was a bit fed up with Carvana, if I'm honest. They it wasn't working out, right? I mean, I had the first XJ pre-order get all messed up. I had the 4 that just didn't work out, and after having those 2 Carvana experiences, I was just kind of done with Carvana. Just real quick as an aside, I do want to mention something about Carvana financing. Do not use Carvana financing. You will get a much, much, much better rate with another bank. Most people that I've seen have been able to get sometimes 50% less of a rate, for example, going from 14 to 7 or 10 to 5% on interest. Money is very, very cheap at the time I'm recording this video, and it is very, very important that you do not overpay for it. Interest rate is what kills you when it comes to car loans, so make sure you get a good rate. I would recommend getting something at least under 7%, even subprime these days. So just keep that in mind. Capital One, for example, has always worked for myself. Being post-bankruptcy, you can check out a video at the top of your screen for that. But there are better rates out there that will work with Carvana. Do not finance through Carvana. They are expensive. You are paying way more than you should if you do that. Anyway, back to the video. So I went ahead and refinanced, moving into a Ford to at a much lower interest rate, and just decided to keep the car for 6 months, right? You gotta let the loan season for 6 months, and then you can start looking for something else if you want, but you've got this car for 6 months now, kind of locked me into it, if you will, and kept me off Carvana. Fast forward to May 2021, and it was time to start searching for a car again, and I went back to the XJL. I just can't seem to learn my lesson. Also, going back to the XJL, it looked like Carvana still had the best deal on the market when it came to XJLs. They weren't the bottom end of the market, but they weren't the top end. They were right in the middle, right where I like to buy cars, medium mileage, medium everything. It was great, right? This was going to be perfect. However, I did decide I was going to use Capital One financing, and we'll talk a little bit about how that works with Carvana later in the video, but I did decide I was going to use Capital One instead of going with Carvana directly. Quicker than expected, I was able to find a stunning Jaguar XJL in black with a perfect interior. Literally the interior that I love. I mean, it was exactly what I wanted, and I knew as soon as I saw it, that was the car. I went through the purchase process, and overall it was really smooth. Cap 1 was relatively smooth as well, though I did have to have like a 45-minute phone call to get that worked out. Apparently Carvana has a dedicated Capital One team that they use, and that was a little weird. But other than that, it was a very, very simple, a very, very easy process. And overall, other than the long phone calls, the purchase process on Carvana is relatively simple. However, don't think it's going to be easy. It's not that either, because it is going to take some long phone calls. Overall, I'd say I've talked on the phone to Carvana in some way for about 6 hours through all of these deals, so just be prepared for that. Finally though, about a week after the purchase process had been started, it was time to go ahead and get this car, because it was pulling into my driveway. Like literally, it was pulling into our driveway here, ready to go. We had a car in the driveway, a Jaguar XJL, beautiful, pulls up on a truck, absolutely stunning. My car is ready to go. Once they arrived, the driver unloaded the car, and he did let us know he was on the way and what time he would be there as well. That was really cool. But overall, the driver arrived, he unloaded the car, and then let us kind of look around the car, right? We got to check it out and see what was wrong with it, see what wasn't wrong with it. And one thing I will say, Carvana misses more than they catch. We are very much so car guys. We know how to look at paint. We know how to look at different scuffs. We know how to look at all of that stuff. And this car was beat up. I mean, the scuffs were crazy. So many different scuffs, so much different damage that honestly you kind of wouldn't expect, and I really didn't, on a car that they kind of claim to be perfect. Those little nicks and dings that they show you on the website is not going to be all of them when you get the car. This is a consistent experience you will see if you watch Carvana videos. It's not what it seems when you actually see it on the website versus what you actually see in real life. There was also interior trim damage. For example, the cup holder that has like a slide mechanism to close it off, that was completely broken, and the slide mechanism would separate. The rear vanity mirror was literally held up with a small tiny piece of paper. Remove the paper and it would just flop down, and it would not stay up unless you put the piece of paper back. I was also able to take the car on a little quick test drive while the Carvana driver looked at my trade-in, this car that I'm actually still in to this day. You can see where this is going. So they basically took around the block, kind of checked out, make sure it drove, make sure it was described or running as I described it in the online trade-in process. So anyway, they did all of that. And then I got back with the car and was like, okay, I think I'm actually going to take this car. I showed them the little damage that was in there with the interior and all that stuff, and they said that they would actually go ahead and take care of that on their dime, just leave it with me, and they would basically take care of it as a warranty claim, that wasn't up to their standard. Okay, cool. We'll fix the cup holder, we'll fix the rear vanity mirror, and the scratches and swirls and scuffs on the interior. Luckily, I have a great mobile detailer who can take care of all of that with a full paint correction. So we're good. I'm gonna be able to keep this car. It's gonna be a beautiful XJL. I'm gonna have to put probably $500 into a paint correction, and then they're gonna take care of the interior trim, and it will be perfect. Wonderful. Patrick and I then did what we always do when we get a new car. We took it for a drive, and we weren't even driving around that far from our house, literally probably 2-3 minutes from our house. And then suddenly a low coolant light popped up, actually right at this intersection right here, right? The low coolant light pops up when we are right over there at this red light. Obviously there's not really anywhere where I can pull off easily in this moment, but there's a 7-Eleven just up the street. So we go up this street here, and as we pull off, we notice a trail behind us, if you will, and it is a trail of coolant. And that trail of coolant goes all the way up this road, all the way up here to on the left there. You can't really see the sign, but there is a 7-Eleven right about here. And yeah, we took it up there, and sure enough, there's a trail of coolant all the way down back into this red light. At the 7-Eleven, there was coolant pooling, just dumping out of the bottom of this Jaguar XJL. It was pretty bad. I mean, just dumping, pooling everywhere. Pooling? What? Pooling everywhere. It was bad. And you literally pop the hood, get out of the car, pop the hood, open the hood up, and it has exploded. A coolant line has bust and exploded in the car, literally spraying coolant everywhere, and again dropping all the coolant out of the basically reservoir. I mean, there was like this much left, and if any of you has ever seen a Jaguar cooling tank, it takes a lot of coolant, and this one did not have a lot left. I instantly called the driver and said, hey, this has happened. Actually, I texted them, and then they called me and said, hey, this has happened. The car's blown up. I want to get the car back, just undo this deal if we can. I don't know if, I didn't know if that would be possible, but I figured it would be because 7-day money back guarantee, right? However, I didn't know if we could do it that fast. The driver said, yep, I'm on my way back to you. Send me your location. I'll contact my managers exactly how to handle this. I've never had this happen before, but we should be able to get you your car back today and just me take that car, hopefully. I was like, awesome, that sounds great. The driver came, got the car, took my car off the truck, put the XJ back on the truck, and it was like the deal never happened. And honestly, if this had been the end of my Carvana story, it would have been one that said, get a car PPI'd if you buy it from Carvana, expect there to be more things wrong with it than what they say, and make sure, again, you do get it PPI'd at an independent dealer, or sorry, an independent mechanic, or at a dealer, and then you're gonna be safe. You should do this due diligence on any car that you buy anyway, whether it's from Carvana or not. However, that wasn't the end of my Carvana story. It deals with the down payment on this XJ, and the driver said I should get that down payment back, but that's not exactly what happened. So let's go ahead, jump to the office, quick little drive over there, and finish this video. So I was told by multiple Carvana reps that they did not take my down payment. I was on the phone with them for quite a while, and they just assured me time and time again, my down payment was never taken. Except, it was taken. And it was taken right away. I mean, literally as soon as the car was delivered, it was taken almost instantly. It might have even been taken the night before, but I won't say that for sure. But I know by the time I got home, that money was taken out of my bank account. In talking to these multiple Carvana reps, I was assured that within 10 business days, it would be back in my account, that they had just taken it, but it would be back in 10 business days. Okay, I waited 10 business days, and on the 11th day, I called Carvana because I still didn't have my down payment back. After being on the phone for over an hour and being transferred between multiple departments and then conveying with all their finance departments and things like that, I was finally able to get my down payment refunded. And 20 total days, because it was 10 business days plus a few more business days to get this kind of settled away, almost 20 days after I originally had my down payment taken, it was finally returned to my bank account, again, after multiple hours on the phone, about 3 hours on the phone in total, trying to get this sorted out. So that's my Carvana experience. What would my review be? Well, stay away from Carvana. Overall, I would say I'd give them 2 out of 5, and the reason for that is because I did have a good experience with everyone I did talk to, be it I was on hold a lot with the phone. The driver was very friendly. Everyone I talked to, the first driver was very friendly, was saying, hey, I don't think you even want this car with this damage on it. It was overall a very good experience with the people. But it's almost like the people that work there want it to be such a good company, but at the end of the day, the inventory they're trying to sell just isn't that great. From more average cars like the Ford Focus ST that I tried to buy to, high-end luxury cars like an XJL, the experience with Carvana has not been great at all. If you do, though, decide to buy a car from Carvana, you do have 7 days. And I do believe 100% without a doubt, they will honor that 7-day return policy at any time. All you've got to do is call them. I've even heard that on the 7th day, you'll get a call from Carvana confirming everything is working fine and you want to keep the car. So that is something that is great about Carvana. It is low to no pressure, but you need to spend the $150 it's going to take your car to an independent mechanic or to a dealer to get it inspected. Not doing so could cost you hundreds because Carvana is not going to have that thorough of an inspection on the car. I know they say they do a thorough inspection, but from my experience, that's just not the case. Overall, though, you will save more money by going through a traditional dealer. Carvana usually does price a little bit higher. They were offering me a little bit higher on my trade as well, so that made it worth it for me. But overall, going through a traditional dealer is probably going to be best. Even through a traditional dealer, though, make sure you get your car inspected. That is one thing I can't stress enough from this video. No matter what, when you're buying a car, get it inspected. So should you buy a car from Carvana? In my opinion, no, you shouldn't, but make your own choice. And if you do, make sure you get that inspection and expect some dents, dings, and damage that you were not expecting and that was not disclosed to you online. Overall, though, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more awesome content, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. My name is Nick. This has been the Nick and Patrick channel, and I'm out. Peace.